Hey, what you know? So today I'm going to do something that if you're old enough, you remember it. But you know, there's some great history to it. Salisbury steak. It's like meatloaf in a patty. So some doctor named Salisbury around in the 1800s came up with this idea as a good protein diet, and it was extensively used during the Civil War to keep the soldiers well fed and happy. So what I've done is I've got 1.5 pounds of ground beef. Nothing particular, doesn't have to be great. And what I want to do is I want to put half a cup of breadcrumbs, panko, whatever you want. I just always have breadcrumbs on the shelf, so that's what I'm using today. And we don't have to be killer accurate. In fact, I normally don't use a measuring cup, but just for you, I'm doing it. Okay. Now, thing I've learned over the years is the egg is like the hardest thing. So people say, well, beat it in a separate bowl. I'm like, well, that's kind of a waste of a bowl, right? Sorry, Charlie. So I'm going to put some black pepper in. Sound familiar? And I need like 2 tablespoons of ketchup. I'm running low on ketchup. Actually, I have a couple more bottles. It was BOGO. 1, 2. Then you need about a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. There we go. Not much. And I got a couple cloves of garlic, okay? Because we're going to make this Salisbury steak my way. So now, I'll show you what I like to do. Got everything else in there, so we're just going to follow up with that egg. Ooh. Now I know it looks really cool on TV, but what I found is that I like to be able to have a hand clean to hold the bowl and one to mix. We're not talking about making like meatloaf with 3 pounds of meat where you need 2 hands. And just do the squeeze, get everything incorporated. And we do want this fairly incorporated. You know, meatloaf, I like to keep a little. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how mixed it is. And you know, it's kind of funny because meatballs especially, I don't like to overmix them. But for these, and don't get me wrong, this is not hamburger. I'm not really a big fan when people make hamburgers and put all this stuff in it. To me, it's not a hamburger anymore. And yes, this is ice cold, and it should be. I'm sure if I had a TV show cooking, I would mix it all together, make it disappear, and pull good ones out of the oven that my assistant made. Alright, so it's pretty mixed. What do I need to do to make it really great? Thought I'd loosen the top. I think this is a really great way to just add a little flavor, a little snazziness. Just a little salsa, any kind of salsa you want. I just wanted a uno, dos tablespoons. It's really not going to affect the flavor. We're not putting a whole bunch of chili powder in. I don't buy salsa that's got all that extra stuff in. It's basically peppers and tomatoes and onion and garlic. But I think it just adds a little nice kind of wetness to it all. Now, I'm not one of those people that I go to the meat market and say, I need a pound and a half, and then get mad when it's like 1.54. Yeah, okay, or whatever. So I do know this is just a little extra, but you know what? I'm going to make the patties the way I like them. And if there's leftover, guess what? I'll cook some meatballs with it. Put them in the freezer, right? Isn't that what we do? And these meatballs will be perfectly fine. Alright. So, I got my frying pan. I just turned it on. And I'm going to take a chunk here. Wow. I start to pat it out, I don't know. I think this is going to be really good. If you want to scale it, put a piece of wax paper on your scale. That's fine. We're supposed to make it oval so it represents a steak, right? Is that like pretty or what? And like meatloaf, you just want to make sure there's no air in it or it's going to fall apart, right? That's kind of heavy. I can live with that. So the thing you want to remember is you cook these for about 3 minutes aside. Got a good sizzle going here. Gotta make it more oval. So one of the advantages of the oval shape is you can put more in the pan. Did you know that? Like I said, this isn't rocket science. You don't have to be perfect at this. I just like getting into a decent shape. But they're not going to look like they were manufactured, because that would really be horrible. Last one goes in the pan. They're smelling really good. I remember. Yeah, That's not really a meatball, right? But I'll do something with it. Don't want it to go to waste. That's a big meatball. Maybe. Yeah. We'll just get a little crust on that. So anyways, I still got 2 minutes left. So I'm going to wash my hands and I'll be back before I flip them. So when I flip them, you can see what they look like. I'll be back. Alright, it's been about 3.5 minutes. The pan wasn't quite as hot as I wanted to, so I gave a little extra time. You can always tell because the brown's going to creep up the sides pretty good. Maybe it's a little thicker than normal too. So we're going to see when I can get the first one. Just move that out of the way. Look at that nice crust on there. Aren't those look beautiful? Okay. A meatball flipped. Don't you just love? My pan's a little off on the burner, I guess. Because some of these are a little more than others. And it's not even which one I put in first, because I remember that and I try to go around in the same circle. You know, they don't have to be perfect. They're going to be good. Once again, timer, 3 minutes. Pan's a little hotter now, so I think it's going to hold true. So let's give these little rascals the rest of the 3 minutes. But I'm going to talk about it a little bit here. There is good flavor in here. I can smell it. The whole premise of these, they want to be perfect. I don't want these though like you get in a restaurant, like prefab. Some places it's like they don't put anything even in with the ground beef. Just cook ground beef, put the gravy on it and call it Salisbury Steak. I really think it's important to have some flavor in the meat. We want to try and hit it with a slightly different flavor of the gravy. So what are we going to do, right? This is something I would serve with mashed potatoes, just got all that gravy. And I think this is a great way to use something basic, just peas, maybe green beans, just a little flavor. Like I said, it doesn't have to be, you know, exceptional, but believe it or not, you know, on a snowy day where you can't cook on the grill, I know some people cook year-round, I hear it all the time, but this is kind of a fun extra way to get some hamburger-style food back in your diet and have a good time too. I'm just like actually kind of drooling. I didn't eat enough breakfast this morning, so it's looking really good to me. And it can't be any easier. You know, like I said, it's like making meatloaf, but it cooks a lot faster, and it's going to get a little different taste. You know, I think with especially with meatloaf, you know, I got to have that baconness to it. You know, I got to have sometimes different kinds of ground beef. I'll link my latest meatloaf extravaganza to this video so you can check it out. Man. I'm sorry, but This really does smell good. Alright. So I'm going to be about ready here in about a minute. Take these suckers out. And, you know, it's like meatloaf. You're not trying to eat it, you know, mid-rare or medium in the middle. You do want to cook them. Like I said, I made these a little beefier. And it's funny, I can tell that one of them I kind of rushed and it kind of cracked because it's like with meatloaf, if you got a little air in there or don't make it perfect, it doesn't come out perfect. It's going to do that. So you really want to form it a little extra. My meatballs looking pretty good in here too. I was trying to think what I'm going to do with that. I think I got some leftover little thing of spaghetti sauce and a little pasta in there. Then I might have to make some more meatballs. I don't know. Might be a lunch though for work. Alright, so I just turned on the oven. I had it on warm. I want to bump it up like 300 degrees because by making the gravy I want to keep these warm so it's ready to eat all at the same time. I'll show you different ways of doing that. Now I know this is done, but what I want to do before I start moving this stuff around is to turn the heat down low. I'm not turning it off because I do need to make the gravy. Oh my goodness, it's not Pyrex. Can you believe this? Alright. Come on. You can just feel a good crust on these. This is a cracked one, the detector one. It's still good. I love the bark. Look at this, man. That's a meatball going to be great. Alright, let me get this in the oven so we can move on. Like I said, just a 300 degree oven just to keep it warm is fine. So, got this hot pan. What I want to make sure is I got enough oil in here. Looks pretty good to me. And those crusties are going to be really good in that gravy. If you don't have enough oil, certainly add some. I'm just using neutral canola oil. So I don't want this to go too crazy. I'm going to get some onion in here. About a half cup onion. Just help get some of the crusties off there. Yum yum. Alright. Now, let's get some mushrooms there. 8 ounces sliced mushrooms. slice them pretty thin so they're going to kind of not be too aggressive in the gravy. And I just want them to start to wilt. Evans up, 10. I get really tired of that tune. Just keep them tossing. And I don't know if you can tell, but I did mince the onion pretty fine. It's not going to be the main event. Alright, mixed all good. All the mushrooms are individually, all these individual slices are broken apart. Now what I want to do, jump a little heat on here. And so we don't need to get rid of all the liquid, alright, because we can compensate for that, right? I just want to get these mushrooms starting to soften and sweat. Don't check your watch because it'll never happen, right? My goodness, even this is smelling good. That's why you gotta use the same pan. Yep. Just takes a while, right? We're starting to sweat. We're getting there, okay? It's cooking like crazy now. Once they start, it's quick. I want to just see this in real time. You know, I could speed it up. I know a lot of people do. But, you know, on my soapbox, then people think it actually happens in 20 seconds. Or I could tell you all till I'm blue in the face that it actually took 5 minutes. But you don't necessarily set your timer for everything you do. So, some things I just feel like I gotta show you. Okay. So here we go. Got it about medium and I turn it down just a hair. Melt 3 tablespoons of butter. Gravy's not an art, okay? So don't worry. But if I got 3 tablespoons of butter, I want 3 tablespoons of flour. Now I got a little juice in here from the mushrooms, so I'm going to put a little bit extra. They can be just a little rounded. This one's really rounded. The other two I won't do as much. Also check, sometimes dry ingredients stick to your spoon. You're not getting accurate measurements. You see that one made up for it. Okay. I'm doing slow because you're all watching me, but normally I do this a little quicker. Because I want to get that gravy mixed in with that butter. Coating the mushrooms. Sure, you can see where we're going with this. Just making that mushy stuff. Make sure all the white's got mixed in, or most of it. Yeah. So, next thing I need is some liquid, right? You know the drill. We're making like a roux or a gravy. I'm going to add slow. Now, I need 2 cups of liquid. I had about a cup of chicken broth left, so I added a cup of beef broth, and I have a little extra just in case I need to thin it out. Now we're just going to start that process. Turn down the heat a little. This liquid's room temperature, so not too bad. Remember, it's going to start as a paste. That's what keeps it from being lumpy. I'm trying to be a little gentle, that's why I'm using this spatula. Rubber one would work fine too. But this is when you're making the paste, is when you keep it from being lumpy. If you put in all the liquid at once, A, it's going to be really thin and hard to cook down, and B, you're more likely to have lumps. And then you're thinking, what the heck is he making? Making goodness here. So like I said in the beginning, I want to keep the gravy kind of neutral, because you're going to use it on your mashed potatoes. You can use it on whatever you want. French fries. Oh yeah, that's good. Now we're starting to see this look like gravy. Still smelling good. You can do this faster, I'm just trying not to make a mess. And it's got to look perfect so I don't get ridiculed. Just gonna get a little simmer in here. Make sure everything's all good. Being careful not to tear up all those mushrooms. Just take your time. You see, I really am cooking, that's why I have to actually watch it instead of looking at you. Just look for bunches of mushrooms that might be stuck together that you gotta kind of whisk apart. Alright. This is looking really good. So, like I said, I got a couple ounces, quarter cup of stock or broth if I have to. I think this is going to be fine. But I got a flavor before I get too carried away here. So I got some Worcestershire sauce, about a tablespoon in here. It's going to add some good color, so I'm going to go a little heavy on it. And seeing bubbles, turn it down. We're going to do 2 tablespoons of ketchup. I don't want to look like red-eye gravy. It's not too much, but we're going to add to that brown. And I do want to put just a little pepper in here, just in case I want the gravy on the French fries. So this should help us. Yep. Now we got real nice color to it. Now remember, as soon as gravy starts to cool, it thickens. So we really want to make sure we have this thin enough. And I'm going to add just a pinch more my broth. And always have something on hand. If you don't have, you can use water. You can use wine. I don't care. Just make sure something totally changed this gravy to the consistency which I was trying for. Let's see, if you take your time, you're going to know that you've fully cooked the flour. It's going to give it better flavor. Yep, a little more than a tablespoon. Really smoothed it out. Oh. Alright, so now what do we do? Taste it. It passed. Alright. Got some bubbling going on. I'm going to turn off the oven. Flip. I want this to just kind of sit till you're ready to serve. You could literally have it sit on here for a while, or 5 minutes. Either way, you're going to have something really good. I mean, it smells incredible. I think I'm going to save that meatball for a little sampling later. So I got everything turned off. Well, look. It's like ironing. I steamed the pork. And please try and focus. Don't grab hot pans. Could be very harmful. Another flip. Look at the steam coming off from that baby. Now if you like to be fancy, you can decorate that with a little Italian parsley that you chopped, or just put a little sprig on top. My goodness. Some mashed potatoes, you have an excellent meal. I mean, I promise you. That little bit of Dijon in the meat adds just so much to it. I know this was pretty simple. I promise, I keep things simple. But yeah, that's a good dinner. like I said, a little mashed potato, and I do have some mashed potatoes, so I can have it tonight. Very simple and excellent. So this is something I really want you to try, and hopefully you enjoy it as much as I did making it, and I'll enjoy eating it tonight. So I want you to all have a great day, and I'll link my meatloaf recipe so you can see that too. And I'll see you next time with another really, really good video.